Anybody who's joined the webinar, we are going to give it another minute to allow more attendees to join the webinar today, and then we'll get started. Oh, I see. Okay, why don't we dive right in and get started? Sarah, the webinar recording has started, correct?
Yes, it has.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, and thank you all for joining our SalesEye and SugarCRM webinar today. If you haven't met me before, my name is Garrett Hogan. I'm an account executive here at BrainCell. Today we're going to talk about an amazing subject. One of the most common questions, one of the most common requests that I get here as an account executive at BrainCell is, we want to integrate our ERP data with our CRM. And of course the question is why? Well, I want to enable my sales team to be able to review that data, analyze it, and gain insights from it, and have more meaningful conversations with my customers. Well, today we're going to show you SalesEye. It's a sales enablement software designed to make every sales conversation more insightful and ultimately more profitable. We're going to show you clear, straightforward buying analysis of your customer so that the salesman doesn't have to do that work. We're talking real-time metrics, where the customer sales are falling, where other opportunities are rising. We're going to touch on all of that today. Very excited to show you a solution where your sales team no longer has to struggle to obtain timely contextual sales data from your ERP and CRM systems. We're going to do all of that for you with some really great simplified back office data analysis for a much more productive sales team. So this has been a long-awaited, exciting webinar. I'm excited to be here today. Next slide, please. Quick housekeepings before we get started. We're going to do about 60 minutes on this technology, and then after the presentation, we'll jump right into Q&A. There is a questions box inside of the webinar tool. Simply put your questions in there, and we will definitely get to them after the presentation. And then finally, we're going to follow up with you all, send a copy of the slide deck, today's presentation. We'll send a recording of the webinar as well for you to share with the rest of your team. Today on the call, I have Kevin McGurl, co-founder of SalesEye. Kevin, if you'd like to say hello.
Yes, hello everybody, and thank you for inviting me to the webinar, Garrett. Looking forward to sharing the SalesEye demo and experience with the team, and answering any questions anybody has. So, thank you for the invitation and the time today.
Fantastic, fantastic. And before I hand it over to Kevin, just going to run through the agenda real quick. Going to hand it off to Kevin. He's going to talk about what is SalesEye, right? And who is SalesEye right for? Then the most exciting part, of course, where you're actually going to see that in action, SalesEye and SugarCRM. And then, of course, after that demo, we'll jump right into Q&A and then wrap things up. So with the agenda set, let's dive right in. Kevin, why don't I hand it off to you?
Thank you very much. Okay, so just going to blow up my PowerPoint slide. So hopefully you can see my screen now. So yeah, as Garrett was indicating there, our job is to help salespeople try and make selling, easier. I'm not going to say we make it easy, just easier, because we know it's impossible to make selling totally easy. Very, very competitive markets. And as Garrett was hinting there, the SalesEye technology is designed exclusively for manufacturing and distribution businesses to help them actually analyze their ERP data and to find those gaps, those cross sells, any churn issues in the customer, and actually bring those to the salesperson's attention so they can deal with those issues in real time rather than leave it till it's too late. And the problem I guess we're solving, to put it in a nutshell, is that salespeople typically waste a ton of time looking at data, pulling down reports from their ERP system, looking at spreadsheets, preparing for sales calls, or do they? because often they don't. In reality, a lot of salespeople should be analysing customers, but because it's hard and the data is clunky and not very sales friendly, they typically just wing it. So they go on a sales call and they talk about sports and the weather, and just hope that by some spontaneous event, the customer points out the fact they're not buying a key product, or they're talking to a competitor. So we tend to find there's two camps. The salespeople are very analytical, spend a lot of time, and that's good selling time, analysing, and others that wing it. And we're trying to actually help both of those audiences. So we make the salesperson that's more of a relationship salesperson, give them the answers without them even knowing the questions. And for somebody that is more forensic and more analytical, just make it easier for them, quicker for them, so they can get to the answers much faster and have a positive customer engagement. So that's the problem we're solving, is just making the data now more sales friendly. And just want to talk about how we sort of fit in with the Sugar environment. I'm going to be showing you SalesEye working inside of Sugar in the demo in a second. Is that we're in fact looking at data. We're having sort of there's two types of data we're analysing here. Sugar is going to manage the CRM data, the contacts, the notes, the relationships, the tasks, any lead nurturing, all of that relationship information will be stored in a robust CRM tool like Sugar. And then our key deliverable here is the transactional data. So looking at data from a position of what does the customer buy from you, what don't they buy, what should they buy. So have they stopped buying a key product, do they buy the bacon but don't buy the eggs, and to actually deliver that to the salesperson as actionable data that they can take on a sales call and win more business, and also protect their customer from competitive attack. So we're going to be showing you how we now blend the two types of data together, and that will become clearer when we jump into the demo piece. Okay, so just a bit, so without making this a technical webinar here, just want to sort of talk about the plumbing a little bit. So the way SalesEye works is we look to leverage the ERP data, and we've got customers on over 300 different ERP platforms, and I believe there may be some Sage users on the call here. So Sage would be one of those, but also we're looking at SAP, Epicor, Infor, Oracle, a lot of smaller vertical industry ERP systems. And we take three key components from those systems, which is a customer master file, a product master file, and a transaction journal, like sales history. We typically backflush 3 years, so we've got a historical perspective of the customer's performance, and then we refresh daily. So every evening, SalesEye is refreshed with live data. Now, what our tool does is it crunches that data, analyzes it, and then delivers calls to action to a salesperson. So in the quick demo, I'm going to perhaps play 3 different roles. I'm going to be a frontline salesperson. I'm going to be a sales leader and show you how we can help a sales leader to leverage data. And then perhaps we'll got time to talk on about marketing and how other departments in the business can also benefit from this actionable data. Okay, so that's a bit of plumbing there. If there's any questions on it later, we can hopefully pick those up in a bit more detail. Okay, so we're going to be looking at, as I mentioned earlier, making data very accessible, finding those gaps, finding those opportunities, and also generating sales reporting very quickly with one click. Again, saving hours of selling time here. So just a quick profile of our company. We've got about 1,200 customers involved in wholesale, manufacturing, distribution industries, so very well established, and every vertical you can think of, like automotive parts, industrial parts, building materials, packaging, HVAC, electrical, food and drink. Pretty much across the board in those verticals, we have very, very strong experience of those industries. Okay, so that's a quick bit of background. I was going to bore you with 1,000 slides. So we're going to give you a quick demo, and in those 3 different role plays, and then we'll stop for questions. I'll take some regular breaks as well, so we can actually pick up points. And Garrett may want to do some steering of me or coaching, because he was on the call here, so that might help me to make this a more personalized experience rather than me just sort of talk at you and show you demo stuff. Okay, Garrett, any thoughts before I jump into the demo piece?
Yeah, and as we're switching over to the demo, just another housekeeping item. We're showing SalesEye embedded into SugarCRM. Some of you may be familiar with SugarCRM, some of you may not. Really powerful customer relationship platform, and happy to have separate calls about the power of SugarCRM. Should you want a little bit more overview of its full capabilities. But yeah, Kevin, let's dive right in and let's talk a bit about SalesEye.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, let's first of all perhaps be a salesperson making a sales call. So I've just come into my CRM tool here, which in this case happens to be SugarCRM, and I can see here I've got some alerts popping up. So I've got some customers who are churning. I've got customers I haven't contacted recently. I've got my top accounts. So I'm getting a classic dashboard that's feeding me with some calls to action as a seller. And I'm going to go and call on this customer here, short any service, haven't placed any orders recently, and they seem to be churning. So I'm going to make a proactive sales call to that customer. So all I have to do is just tap on that customer, and then I'm going to get pulled into my CRM tool for a bit more of a more detailed, deeper dive on this customer's performance and behaviors. And in this case, Sugar is going to help me with that sort of more softer side of the relationship, which is going to be my contacts, my notes, my follow-ups, any tasks outstanding. So again, all of the relationship information will be managed by my CRM component. Then what we've done here is we've now embedded SalesEye into the same experience for the user. So in this case, the salesperson has checked their contacts, last conversations, the relationship side of things. And now we're now exposing from the ERP system this customer's buying patterns, their buying behaviors. So again, these are examples now of typical dashboards. In this case, I'm showing sales by category. I'm highlighting profitability of the customer, so we can see they're actually in the green zone here. So that's looking okay. Current sales numbers as of last night, sales this year, favorite products. I might want to look at a sales comparison. So again, how are we tracking compared to last year's performance? It looks like we're pretty heavily down on last year. So again, with little effort, I'm starting to get a good picture for this customer's performance. So we're down $500,000. I wonder what the spend mix is. How is this customer spending with me compared to other similar customers? So an example here, I'm selling auto parts in my demo. So this was a fleet customer or a major auto repair shop. I might be comparing this customer spend to other similar peer customers. So this example, on suspension products, the average customer of this type spends 9% of the basket on that category. This customer's on 8%, so I'm underpenetrated there. So I can see where I'm over or under the typical spend mix. I might have a budget for the customer. So in this case, I've got a $300,000 budget. What is my performance to budget? Am I, again, performing to the expectations and compared to where I think I should be in this customer's spend with me? And that budget in this case is dollar value overall, but could be by product category or even down to product level. So I'm actually monitoring performance of my customer. So again, within a couple of minutes here, I've already got a good picture that I've got some issues. But what I would talk about on the sales call.
Yeah, and so, Kevin, I would say too, so many different technologies talk about, they use the word actionable, right? But if you go back to what you were just saying, the last 3 minutes, everything from the dashboard view telling you that there's been no contact with the customer to 90 days is actionable. Whereas you would have to turn your head and look for that, to the dashboard tab and the spend mix analysis and the target data. It's all actionable data that requires really no thinking from the sales rep.
You're correct. Yeah, we're trying to act, in fact, act a bit like I know the Open Golf was at the weekend, a bit like a caddy would be for a golfer. Yeah, I mean, obviously, professional golfer can carry their own bag and make their own yardage and do the hard work. But having a caddy makes them more effective. So we're trying to do the same thing. Is let's make the salesperson focus on the sales call and the message, not the mechanics of having to get all this data themselves and just deliver it to them so it is actionable. That's what we're trying to do. So far, this is a warm up. Yeah, we're getting the salesperson tuned in. Now this is now, in fact, what you may describe as the money shot, which is okay. What do I talk about on the call? So what SalesEye is doing here now is looking at the data for this customer Shawnee Services, the example customer we're looking at, and it's pinging tripwires to the salesperson, highlighting gaps in the customer. So we know what they're buying, what they're not buying, what they should be buying, and helping the salesperson with the plays for the call. So this example, I can see how the customer's down heavily on one of our key categories. There's a classic bacon and eggs product gap here, where they say they're buying soap dispensers, not buying the soap that goes with that. They're spending a decent amount with us, but they never bought tools. And we know that every customer of this type should be buying tools from somebody. If they're not buying them from me, they're buying them from somebody else. So again, that's something I might want to discuss on the call. And again, I've got again another classic cross-sell here. So even at this very simplistic level, I could walk in the door, say, how's Mary and the kids? Did you see the game last night? And by the way, where are you buying your tools from? And I've got a great promo on tools today. So this is now guided selling. So the salesperson now is able to be more informed on the call with zero effort. And I've got customers with salespeople in their 60s, 70s, and 80s using this tool. And I've got one customer with 2 80-plus-year-old sellers. Now, do they use every bell and whistle sales? No, they don't. They just use this page. So again, they've got great customer relationships. This gives them the talking points for the call with no effort. So they can walk in the door and ask a smarter question, which exposes typically some competitor activity, or perhaps the customer doesn't know you sell tools. Now you can introduce that on this call. So that's a typical first level pre-call preparation. I'm now going to sort of dig a bit deeper and get a bit more forensic, but that often would be enough to get a salesperson up and running into a powerful sales call. It's just giving them the alerts in English. So there's no barriers. I don't need to be a data guy. As long as I can read, I know what's going on in the customer. Okay, so that's level one. I'm going to dive a bit deeper now. Now, often a salesperson also has to produce a business review when they go and see a customer. And actually one of my customers, NGK Spark Plugs, Mike Swab, their president, said, hey, my sales guys, when they go and see a Napa or an O'Reilly or a big customer, they spend hours preparing these business reviews and pulling data and putting it into PowerPoint decks. And it's a whole chore. And some of those presentations are pretty ugly. They're not really good at it. They're not data guys. Other customers I have used to have like a data slave doing that, somebody at corporate level who would produce the reviews for the salesperson. Now we're going to make that job easy as well, because that's a real time suck for a salesperson. We've got a tool here called Snapshot. And what Snapshot does, it allows the salesperson to be self-sufficient. They can build their own professional business review in seconds, not hours. And two choices: they can do some pre-production on this. They can edit it. They can change the color scheme. They can prepare the review, or just press generate. Then what SalesEye does is actually takes that information but from the customer, from the ERP system, and now blows it up into a PowerPoint deck, including all of the the views of the customer, scenarios that would help you have a consultative sales call, like the latest purchases, what he's selling the most units of, are there any gaps in the customer appearing, what are you churning in the customer, so giving the salesperson very good visuals so they can actually share that with the customer very quickly, very easily, which again prompts those sales conversations. I can say, well, what's happening with the workshop supplies here, and guess what, I've got a bit of a promo here on workshop supplies. So allowing the salesperson to appear very professional, save hours of time, and go into those business reviews with all the data they need to have an effective meeting. So again, that's just another example of how we take the data and make it very actionable for the salesperson.
Completely customizable, right, to fit the customer's needs, and then they can pick and choose what they want to add to that slide deck, and they can run it very quickly. I mean, that's incredibly fast too.
Yeah, I mean, because it's PowerPoint, again, it's a great delivery method as well, because if I wanted to slot in some additional sales messages or some video clips or something that's very personal to the customer, SalesEye is doing the heavy lifting. It's building 95% of the deck for me, putting the graphs in, all the data for me. Now I can then add in the additional bit of sizzle or personalization very quickly. So it may take me, rather than take me 3 hours to build a deck, I can now build it in 5 minutes just by making it very, very, very personal to my customer. So that's just an example of again how you could use SalesEye to again just save time in the selling world, but also raise the bar for the sales team. Okay, so that we call that snapshot, and actually I've got customers that have used that very effectively for managing not only the customer but also there's versions of that snapshot you can use for sales management. You can use a snapshot of a salesperson, on a product category. So often other people in the business like to get those quick business reviews built. Primarily, it's great for sharing with the customer, and it's a great leave behind as well. Now, I guess I'm not going to be gloomy here, but in the event we have another pandemic, that tool was also found fundamental to our customers during a pandemic. They could jump on a call like this into webinar format, share the PowerPoint deck with a customer, and still have a quality sales call using the deck to promote conversations during the pandemic when personal visits were no longer achievable. So okay, so that's an example of me going a little bit deeper. So that was sort of level 1 was the campaigns. Level 2 is produce a snapshot. Now, we mentioned those salespeople that may be more forensic, might want to dig a bit deeper into the data and drill into it. So we can also help that type of user too to dig deeper. So because we're pulling every transaction across from the ERP system, an example might be I want to mine that data, see the customer's down. I might want to do some quick data mining. So again, I'm still inside of my CRM tool here, and I'm now seeing this customer's sales are down pretty heavily. I'm seeing which categories we're down on, where are we shrinking, where are we growing. There's a little bit of growth going on elsewhere, but I can see I've lost the cooling and dry belt business. I've lost the HVAC business in this customer. It's drifting away, probably to competitors. Now, I want to dig deeper. I can just tap on any of these categories. I can now drill to a subcategory, and drill to a brand, to a vendor. So I can now slice and dice the data at Google search speeds inside of my CRM tool and see what's really happening beneath the surface. I've lost the radiator business. I've lost the water pumps. I've lost the hoses. I want to dig deeper and go down to even at a product level. I can now mine the data and actually go down to item level and see the exact product codes I've lost in the customer. So I lost, $22,000 worth of these water pumps and other products in that same category. So I can see that's probably churning to a competitor. So allowing the more forensic user to say dig deeper, slice and dice, get down to the answers in seconds without leaving their CRM tool.
And Kevin, quick question on that. It's so exciting to see this real-time data come from the ERP. How many drill downs can we do? Is it very SQL-like, 27 times that you never achieve, or? Yeah,
it's really, when I do the manager role, I'm going to do like a full deep drill through a breadcrumb trail and see. There's no limit, Sophia, to how deep you could go. Practical limit is, you get down in the weeds and you don't really know where you are anymore. But we've got a nice breadcrumb trail that helps you out of that if that happens. But yeah, any dimension that you think would be helpful to a salesperson, which is going to be based around the product hierarchy, around time, around any of the other softer fields like CRM fields that might also be relevant. All of this can be blended and analyzed together. So in that case I went through product category. This time I'm perhaps going to pick my manufacturers and my brands. So which I've sold to this customer 251 different manufacturers. Zimmerman is the number one. I can see what I'm selling a lot of here. That was going to manufacturer. I could take that manufacturer and then I could drill to product category or to product. So I can drill in a number of directions here. So that's a breaking vendor clearly, and I can now drill down from there down to item and see the exact items that we'd sold there. Or we could go a different route. I might go straight. Let's go really deep straight away. I might go straight down to item. Let's go. I've sold 1,400 items to this customer. So again, you saw that was again Google search speed, so lightning fast delivery. Now I'm also exposing here other dimensions that might be helpful to a seller, as well as dollar value. I'm exposing obviously profitability. So how profitable are we on again, it's by item, by SKU level. What's our average price we're selling at? But also number of units. And in a period of inflation, number of units can be a very useful parameter because sometimes if costs have price has gone up, we think the customer is growing, whereas the number of units has fallen, that can be a good indicator. And also we're tracking number of transactions. How many times have the customer ordered that product from us this year, or between the period I'm tracking? I was actually on a call just before this one, actually, with a customer that's encountering sort of heavy freight costs. And every time they ship, a brake disc like this, it's costing them some handling, some freight. Whereas if they can get the customer to actually bundle up and actually buy a bigger number of units, everybody wins. They can give the customer a better price, and they've got less, net cost to serve. So again, by looking at the transaction count, we can say, well, perhaps we can get the customer to buy, rather than buying every day, can they buy every week? Could they buy some stock and negotiate that into the deal? So we're tracking other useful parameters as well as the dollar value in the customer. So these are all pre-canned, quick out of the box deliverables. Again, helping the salesperson, to actually be prepared on the sales call. So the choices are there. Just quick repeat was to be very high level. Just go with the English clues as to what to talk about, to actually dig into a snapshot, or actually literally drill through the data live and get the answers, again, without leaving my CRM tool, making it very simple and easy for the salesperson. So I was going to stop there quickly. I'm watching the clock here on the sales role and pivot to be a sales manager for a few minutes now. Garrett, anything else we think we should cover there? Is that giving it a really good flavor?
Fantastic so far. This data poses so many questions that the salesperson can ask their customers, right? It's really exciting stuff.
Yeah, and again, it just, as we said earlier, go back to the original premise here, is about just making selling easy. I now focus on the message of the call, not mechanics of building everything and finding it, or having to wing it, because I'm just not a data person. So that's sort of the sales role. I'm now going to quickly assume that sales leaders also need quality data to help manage the business as a whole. So I'm just going to jump in and now look at a broader view of data and how we can analyze all of our data across the whole business. Now let's imagine I'm a sales VP or I'm a sales leader. Again, I need data too. So let's look at how I might analyze the ERP data, again, in Sales Eye here. So let's imagine I'm a sales leader and I've got a number of different divisions or branches. Garrett's question earlier was how many dimensions can I mine? Well, I mentioned it's unlimited, but let's just follow a typical path. I might want to look at my various divisions. So in this example, I've got 4 different business units I manage, and we're up 3.5 million, but my central guys are down this year, so that's a bit concerning. I just tap on the central region, and I now want to perhaps explore this by sales rep. Let's pick my sales reps. So which of my sales reps now are suffering in the central region? Well, it looks like Kurt and Vicky having a really bad year this year. So let's look at Kurt in more detail. I'm now going to change direction. I'm going to look at Kurt's performance by product category. So which product categories are really hurting Kurt right now? So he's selling more transfer cases and tools, but overall he's down on a number of our key categories. So I picked on body and electrical in this example. I'm going to drill deeper onto that category. I might drill down to which vendors is Kurt suffering on, or I might now go to customer. So okay, are there particular customers in that category that Kurt's suffering with? So these are the customers that Kurt's losing. Now they're still buying from us on that category, but it's heavily down $100,000 in some Michael spares on that category. So I now want to dig deeper now. Perhaps I'll now go to vendor. Say, okay, these are the vendors on electrical that Kurt's losing in that customer. I'm going to pick Heller here, and I'm going to go down to product code, SKU item level, and it looks like okay, we lost a whole bunch of headlight assemblies and fog lights and bulbs and tail lights. So we can mine through millions of lines of data. I mean, I work with Napa Auto Parts, one of my bigger customers, 2,000 reps, over 3 million part numbers, and we're delivering this speed of delivery to their salespeople through 3 million part numbers and zillions of lines of data to give the salesperson the answer that quickly. So you can now see I've gone down a number of levels there, but notice the breadcrumb trail here. I wanted to look at a different customer, a different salesperson, a different region. I can jump back to say a different rep now. I want to now look at Vicky's performance, and you can see that I've kept my breadcrumb trail. So I can navigate north, south, east, and west through the data. Even as a fairly low-tech individual, I'm not getting intimidated by complex BI tools or visualization tools. This is now very, very sales leader friendly, so I can get to the answers quickly and easily. I've got favorite views, I can save them, I can export them, print, so I might have my start of the day view that I want to just save and put it on my homepage. So any piece of data I need is available to me very, very quickly and easily. Just do another quick sketch here while we're on this topic. So let's again perhaps start at item level here. So I look at every item that we sell in the business. I'm going to throw in the product code there as well as another column, so we can see the product code and the description. And I want to see, okay, for that water pump, looks like we sold a lot of those water pumps this year. So I'm now thinking, which of my sellers sold that water pump? So okay, in this case, 55 of my salespeople have sold that water pump. Let's look at Bernadette here now. Bernadette's sold quite a few of those. Let's look at the average price is actually lower than Freddie here is my top seller. So I wonder who Bernadette's selling that to. I can now get to the exact customers that Bernadette sells that one SKU to. So she sold that SKU to 29 customers, and Auto Value is number one there. She sold 15 units on 9 transactions. So the customers, buying those in onesie twosies, and I can see the average price there is below where we want to be. This customer is even lower. So I'm now able to see levels of detail very quickly, very easily, which then help me prioritize my time. Which fires do I fight today? Where do I find coaching to my sales team? Who needs a cattle prod? All of that stuff is now accessible to me very quickly and very easily as a sales leader. Okay, so I was going to now move on to perhaps the marketing role and other ways of using this data, but hopefully that helps set the scene here. Garrett, any thoughts on this piece before we move on?
Every time I see the product, it continues to impress me. It's just the amount of information and insights without leaving this one screen is just so powerful. I was even just thinking about how you could be analyzing your sales team's performance, and you could actually find that perhaps even your sales rep is trying to sell it at a lower average price and still not making the deals at a higher average price than another sales rep might be doing. Just really great conversations to be able to have with the sales team based on this data.
Yeah, again, sometimes a sales leader's selling blind or working on gut feel, or they've got to go to IT or a data slave, to get access to this data, or they've got some again, I talked to a lot of sales leaders. The guys at Napa had access to Click as a reporting tool, BI tool, and again, it was great for the corporate guys or the accounting team and operations team who were a bit more, IT savvy and were more power user style individuals. But most sales leaders, were salespeople, in the previous job, and they didn't have to be, have great tech skills to do that job. So when they got promoted, guess what? They suddenly don't become BI experts. So having a tool that's very easy, very accessible, and also it's the same tool that sales reps are using. They're just getting a bigger visualization of broader scope of data, but they're using the same tool. So when they're working with the sales team, everybody's on the same page. They're using the same language when they go and look at performance of the salesperson, the customer, the product. So ease of use is actually probably our number one. We've got an internal phrase here, which I think we stole from Obama, which was originally "no child left behind," is with no salesperson left behind. It's quite often, when IT systems and CRM, BI tools are put out into the business, we forget the lowest tech individuals in the company, and sometimes that's in the sales team. Our job is to make sure every salesperson can play at some level here and get data that helps them in their job to be successful. So
one of my favorite things, one of my favorite parts of my job is when I hear from an executive, for example, and it takes 8 days to generate the data that he's looking for, and we're able to utilize technology like this and present it to them basically in near to real time. They get very excited about it, and it allows them to steer the ship. So it's just fantastic.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Gary. So many people tell me that they got I get some reports from head office or through my IT system. What happening? I'll get those once a month.
Yes.
Well, in a current competitive world, a hell of a lot changes in a month. And I get my big fat report, and I have to go through it and find things, and it's like needle in a haystack. So we're just basically serving up the needles on a platter and saying, hey, there they are. Go fix it.
Google still uses Crystal reports for reporting, and nobody really knows how to use it, and it takes us forever to generate the reports. Well, nuts to that, we can abandon all that.
Absolutely, yeah, you've got it. So just make it, let's say, data. There's great value in the data, but if you can't, access it, you can't leverage it. It's a wasted opportunity. So I think we're trying to just bring it to the surface here. So I'm going to touch on for the sort of next piece here before we move on to sort of open questions. Is looking at okay, we talked earlier about how we can alert salespeople and leaders to what's going on in the business proactively. So as well as me slicing and dicing the data, we can set tripwires and alerts that actually deliver the data that we need to see to the appropriate person so they can act on it. And this is an area we call this campaigns, but actually this really is an alert or a tripwire. And you can create any scenario you can think of in English in less than a minute. So here's a couple of examples here. So this is one here. I've got customers who spend $2,000 on engine parts but don't buy filters. Now, if you're buying engine parts, you're probably buying filters from somebody, but 119 of my customers don't do that. They're breaking that particular business rule. Now, that's a target audience that I can go after. Now, if my salesperson wanders into any of these customers, like I wander into Advanced Automation Co., that pops up on the salesperson's dashboard, alerting them to talk about filters. So they get that call to action. This one, that was one we saw pop up earlier for that Shawnee service. Customers who are spending $50,000 don't buy tools. That was again driven by behavior of customers. So again, any person wanting into a call where that pops up knows they can sell tools. But so the idea is to create these audiences that can deliver to our sellers so they know exactly what to talk about on the call. But another way of using this this approach is for driving proactive marketing campaigns. So again, a lot of marketing is done through email traffic to the customer, direct to the customer. But often we end up spraying every customer with the same offer rather than personalizing and making sure it's timely, relevant to that customer. So in this example, we're able to say, okay, we're going to do a filter promo with our filter vendor, but I want to find people who've stopped buying filters or are buying other products that would indicate they should buy filters. And I'm going to be a sniper rifle approach, not just shocking everybody with this special promo, because if I'm already buying filters and I might be buying them at a premium price, we're crazy if I send an offer to that customer offering cheaper filters. They're already buying them happily from us already. Let's find the people that aren't buying them. So in this example, I can now do a very segmented campaign, push that out into my, and I know Garrett and the team sell a whole range of different marketing and automation tools that the brain cell customers are able to use. And we can take that audience and then push it into your marketing tool of choice. So you can now email those customers, create a whole sales campaign, but we're finding the audience. So our job is to find the best fit audience for the campaign you're running, and then pass the baton to the marketing automation tool for delivery execution. So I've seen my customers make dramatic improvements in performance just by doing this. I've got one customer in the industrial space, went live very recently with SalesEye, started running these campaigns. Which customers are buying tools, not buying fixings, who stopped buying abrasives, who buys power drills from us but hasn't bought any drill bits, just really basic campaigns. They did over $1 million of extra incremental business in the first month. Now this was the same customer base. It was just business they were leaving on the table that was again been ignored by their salespeople, and just by running campaigns directly to the customers with these promos, they made $1 million at a fairly healthy margin. Their vendors were delighted because obviously for the first time they could actually direct their promos to the appropriate customers. So that was just in month one. Now they're only just getting their training wheels off right now. So the opportunity here is huge to actually take your ERP data and turn it into marketing gold, and actually just find those little, micro markets that you can direct a promo to and win the business. Now, ideally, the salesperson then follows up because they've got the alerts as well. So you could send out a filter promo through marketing automation, and the next time the salesperson's in the customer, we mentioned the promo. Did you get the filter promo? Or we get our inside sales team to actually let's generate some sales calls and let's call those customers. So our inside sales group starts to pound the phones, knowing it's not a cold call, it's a warm call to somebody that should be buying filters or bought them previously and has stopped buying. So again, anything you think of, in English, could be a campaign, who's not bought this month, who's stopped buying key products, win backs, who's not bought in 180 days. So all these customers here have not placed an order for 180 days, let's call them. So very focused selling that's going to help us, to actually maximize our sales performance, without a huge amount of effort or needing to, write heavy code in our IT systems to find the people to sell to. So that's another way of using the tool. Now,
pinpoint marketing at its finest. I mean, it really is. You're able to provide the marketing teams with so much insight based on ERP data when traditionally marketing is connected to the CRM, right? So,
yeah,
really great stuff.
Yeah, it's really that blend of, and actually to sort of, I guess, give a full 360 on this, Garrett. You're really looking at also, blending that hard and soft data together. So we might actually be targeting. Again, I'm going to use a bizarre, example here. So we had, that who buys engine parts doesn't buy filters. Now, because we've got the CRM data as well, potentially, we could be saying, okay, by customer type or size, let's find all of our customers with more than 20 repair bays, or they've got more than 100 vehicles in their fleet who buy engine parts, don't buy filters. Or let's find a bizarre example, all my buyers that support the Green Bay Packers and the vegetarians who don't buy engine parts. So I can actually blend the two together to create much more exotic queries that are really hyper segmented. And the classic marketing gurus all talk about one-to-one marketing. We sell to a person as one-to-one. This allows you to do that. I mean, in effect, it may not be one, but it could be 17 customers that meet a certain profile that we know is a real sweet spot for us, and we then target them. Therefore, we can do campaigns every single day. Some of my customers previously were doing, we do a monthly campaign. We mail everybody with a bunch of offers. Well, that doesn't work. That's mass marketing that just bounces off people and is in effect spamming. This is very targeted, very personal, very relevant. But the tools are there to do that now. So this technology does that for you. So again, without sort of going off road here a little bit as well. Now this is where some human DNA is involved, where the head of marketing, the head of sales, category manager is creating the scenarios, creating the rules, and the really easy to create a new one literally in, as I mentioned earlier, less than a minute. It's like hitting a new campaign here, it's drag and drop. You name the rule to be your language, the style of your business. But also, obviously, a lot of people on the call here will have been hearing about, getting experience of AI tools, and certainly some predictions that AI will play a big role in manufacturing distribution over the next 2 or 3 years. So we are launching over the next 60 days an AI enabled version of this as well, so that our AI algorithms will be finding scenarios for you and actually making recommendations that you may have missed. And we've run this across a number of our customers' data sets already, and the AI machine learning is finding outlier scenarios that the customer may not have thought of, where there's people buying a less than obvious mix of products. I might buy if I buy iPhones, I might also buy bottles of water for some reason. So there may be some connections that aren't the bacon and eggs. They're actually more obscure, but can be very lucrative. But also, if you don't think of a rule yourself, or you haven't set one, our AI machine learning will be making recommendations, saying, hey Garrett, I think you should run a campaign on this. It looks like you've got a bunch of customers that are buying that product. So
we could be analyzing other customers in that similar space as, say, A&J Auto Salvage, and providing recommendations on how to potentially have future conversations with salvage. That's absolutely fantastic, and it's all.
You've got it. So yeah, we definitely see that as the the Amazon style recommendation, but now available to everybody. I mean, Amazon spend billions of dollars on their technology and their tech stack. This allows a small, medium-sized independent manufacturer or distributor to have similar weapons, and this will be making recommendations. We know that customers of this type typically buy this product. Well, you bought this in the past, that means you would be a good customer for this product. You buy this brand, well, actually this brand's actually is better price for you with a better quality. To be able to make recommendations that the salesperson can bring to the customer, very exciting stuff, and I think we're all at the very early stages of our evolution of the use of AI in business, but this is a fairly obvious place to start, I think, for manufacturing distributors. So we'll have that in our tool. So anybody that comes on board with us right now, we're working with Garrett and the team. We'll start to see this becoming available, and those recommendations again helping everybody in the business to not miss things and be on the front foot at all times, maximizing sales and profitability. So I'm conscious, I'm just watching the clock here because we said we'd allow some good time at the end for questions. So we covered those three roles. Sales, frontline seller could be inside, outside. I've got customers, with both, and often a hybrid of both. Every sales leader needs data to be successful. It isn't just a pipeline and the stuff that your CRM tool is going to give you. It is the transactional side of your business, and also potential other departments like marketing and any internal analytics departments that just need fast, quick answers, and we're able to mobilize that data quickly. So a quick bit of background there. I'm now going to throw, because Garrett's been sort of watching the chat here. Any questions, Garrett, that came up that we can jump on here? And if there aren't any, we can give people that time back today. But anything that came in the session.
Sure. Why don't we jump right into the audience Q&A? A couple of questions. One, Kevin, of course, discuss the pricing model, right? How much does this cost? Tell us a little bit more about the pricing.
Yeah, and again, that is I'm not trying to be a basic question, but yeah, this is a classic software as a service deliverable. So we need to know number of salespeople, number of managers, how many users you have, and the term of the agreement. So again, classic subscription model here. Yeah, but a typical cost, our customers are typically investing about $80 a user per month in this tool. Therefore, again, this wouldn't pass any CPA exams. We're trying to find for each salesperson or each manager about $3 to $4 a selling day of extra payback to make this self-funding as an investment. So now typical for my customers, that's a no-brainer. There's an example here of just one example of a typical ROI. Most of my customers pay for this by user in the first week of using it, because the salesperson then covers missed opportunities. So that would be a guideline. So around $80 a user per month. But again, if somebody's on the call's got a good level of interest and has got wants to talk about some numbers, we can work with Garrett and the team and put together a package for you that will hopefully be very appealing.
Great. And I know a lot of the customers that are going to be watching this webinar today, they're on Sage 100, Sage 300. Any concerns about connecting to specific ERPs in the marketplace? Or I know you mentioned I think you mentioned over 180 different connectors are available. Tell us a little bit more. So we've got customers on every variant of Sage. Things available. So we've been working with Sage actually for, they're also a British company. You can tell my accent, I'm not from, even though I'm calling from Chicago today, I'm actually originally a Brit. But yeah, we've been working with Sage for many years, and for all the variations of the Sage family, we've got customers on. But also, lots of other ERP systems, from the big name ones like SAPs and the Oracles. There are a lot of vertical industry specialist ERPs that we work with. Some of the more generic product like NetSuite,
we've got customers on the Microsoft stack, Epicor, Infor, you name it, and also people have gone for some very proprietary systems which are based on Unix or PIC or Progress databases, whatever. We've got customers on the full spectrum of ERPs, and I think in the past, we've been in business 16 years. I think it's probably only twice in that period where we've thrown our hands up and gone, I don't think we can get this data. It's not going to happen because the system's so locked down. It's been many years since we hadn't been able to deliver a system to a customer.
I love it. I love it. Typical implementation time. Are we talking 6 months, a year? What are we looking at? Yeah,
now this is actually where I'll use the phrase we're disruptive, because the typical ERP integrations with CRMs and BI tools are a blank sheet. You got it's like major heavy lifting to put it, deliver a project. Now we come from a very different approach, which is in effect, everything I've shown you today actually is out of the box. So all the application I showed you is literally, these are out of the box deliverables. So a typical go live is if it actually goes beyond 30 days, that's a major red flag for us internally. We look to deliver very rapid value to the customer, so that's very disruptive. That means also we can control the budget on professional services. So you're not writing a blank check to deliver ERP data into the tool. So very, very quick time to market. I mean, if I've got customers who literally sign up and they're live and dangerous inside 2 weeks with their salespeople trained and operational. So this is very different to traditional, the classic, blank sheet where you've got to have a consulting phase. We're designing the whole thing. We're doing prototypes. We're building it. This is literally, let's get the data loaded. Let's run up some campaigns. Let's go sell.
Yeah,
so very, very disruptive, which is very appealing to my customers right now because they haven't got time for a heavy project. And also, I know, Garrett, you're working on some big CRM deployments right now. This can be a very powerful first phase because it delivers very big value up front. And because it's deliverable fast, it may take longer to configure every bell and whistle in a CRM deployment with different integrations and different components being built there. Whereas this can be delivered quickly to the customer to give them, give their sales operations some quick wins while you're building out the rest of the deliverables, which we could take more time and more consulting.
Yeah. I mean, if you're dealing with a user adoption issue within your business, we found an answer for it because as a salesman myself, there's no way that if I was in the marketing space, I wouldn't want to leverage this technology. There's just no way. It's very, very powerful, and the fact that there are costs involved with obviously buying the software and onboarding, the fact that you can start to see that return on investment within 35, 40 days, that's amazing. That's really powerful. It's really great. It's wonderful.
Yeah, in the space we serve, Garrett, it's better than I do. It's pretty unusual. Normally we go to my vendor, I say, okay, I want to create a bunch of Power BI or Click or Cognos, Tableau scenarios. It's a case of, okay, let's design what you want. Let's pick all the data points. It's all this stuff. Whereas because we sell to manufacturing distribution businesses, we know what the data points are. We've built the application. We just need to load the data. Hopefully people on this call aren't from different industries because I don't sell to banks. I don't sell to insurance companies. I don't sell to real estate companies. We're 100% supply chain businesses, and therefore we've got a very good understanding of the requirements out of the box. And then it's really configuring it like configuration to each of our customers so they can get a great experience. So again, that's very different to the we'll build it. This is actually a buy versus build argument.
Right. Yeah. So, and the idea that you had me chuckling because Sage Intelligence reporting, business intelligence tools, these are tools that if you're not comfortable with them, it could take you 30 days to generate the report that you're looking for, and here you can have a complete solution with much more than that one specific report. So that's fantastic. Any other questions from the not the participants? We're the participants. Anyone else joining the call today? There is a questions box. We'll leave it open for another 30 seconds or so. Any questions that you guys want to post? Happy to ask them. Really great. I really appreciate your time today, Kevin. This has been
No, this is, thanks for inviting me, Garrett. And we'd, now what we'd recommend is that anybody that's seen this, is obviously we've only really scratched the surface here of what's possible, the art of possible, just to give you some flavor for how this hangs together. We're now working very closely with Garrett and the team. And what I recommend, if anybody's interested in what they've seen today and they think this might be relevant to their business, is arrange a personal one-on-one session with Garrett and our team, and we'll talk a bit more about your situation. What have you got currently? What are you trying to achieve? And then we can actually make a much more personal presentation of how this might add value for the business. So we'd certainly be very happy to engage with anybody who wants to dig in greater depth in a sort of one-on-one scenario here. So
yeah, absolutely. Feel free to reach out to me or growth@braincell.com, and we'll schedule in some time and talk about your use case and how SalesEye can help you continue to see growth within your organization. So, Kevin, thank you so much for the time today. Really appreciate it.
thank you. Thanks, Garrett. Thanks, Sarah, for organizing, and thanks everybody for listening to this. And I hope it was helpful, and look forward to meeting everybody downstream with some more detailed conversations. So, but thank you. Have a great day, and thanks a lot. Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.